They called me useless. Said I'd never make it. They laughed when I failed, but they didn't know that failure was teaching me how to fight. And when karma came back around, it made them watch every single moment of my victory. Because sometimes, silence doesn't mean weakness. It means the storm is loading. My name is Ethan Cole. I wasn't born rich. I wasn't born talented. But I was born with something stronger, the belief that I could become anything. As a kid, I dreamed of creating something of my own. Not just working for someone else, but building something from the ground up. A company. A legacy. A name people would remember. But in my world, dreaming was dangerous. Because people don't like dreamers, they like followers. My father used to say, "Ethan, you'll never be like your brother. He's the smart one. You're just wasting time." Those words burned deeper than he ever knew. Because when the world doubts you, it hurts. But when it's your own family, it cuts your soul. At school, I wasn't the top student. I wasn't the funny one or the popular one. I was just there, the boy with too many ideas and not enough proof. When others went to parties, I stayed home sketching designs, writing business ideas, watching videos about success. I had this dream, to start a small online company that could grow into something massive. I told my friends about it. They laughed. "Ethan, you can't even afford a decent laptop. Bro, stop acting like you're Steve Jobs." They said it jokingly, but the laughter always had a bite. And each bite left a scar. Then there was Lena, the girl I loved. The one who made me believe I wasn't just a failure waiting to happen. She told me she believed in my dreams. She said, "I'll stay with you even if you have nothing." But that promise had an expiration date. Because when life got hard, when the bills piled up, when success didn't come fast enough, love turned to doubt. Her messages became shorter. Her smiles faded. And then one night, she was gone. No goodbye. Just a picture. Her, with my best friend. The same man who said, "I got your back, bro." That night, I sat on the edge of my bed, holding my phone, staring at that picture until my hands went numb. Everything I believed in, love, loyalty, friendship, shattered in seconds. And for the first time in my life, I felt empty. I walked outside into the freezing night. No coat. No direction. I remember standing in front of a dark store window and seeing my reflection. I looked like a ghost. And I whispered to myself, maybe they're right. Maybe I really am nothing. The next few months were pure darkness. I stopped trying. Stopped smiling. Stopped caring. I worked at a local cafe, cleaning tables for people who didn't even look at me. Every night, I went home to silence. No messages. No calls. Just me and my regrets. And yet, something inside me refused to die. It was small, barely a spark, but it whispered, "You're not done yet." Then one night, an old man came into the cafe. He ordered a coffee, sat alone, and said something I'll never forget. He looked at me and said, "You've got the eyes of someone who's been through hell, but not someone who plans to stay there." That line, that one line, flipped a switch inside me. I realized I had two choices, stay broken, or rebuild stronger. So that night, I made a decision. No more crying. No more waiting for anyone to save me. I was going to save myself. I packed a single bag. Left town. No note. No announcement. I didn't even tell my father. Because sometimes, the best revenge is disappearing long enough for your success to shock them all later. I found a small city job. Cheap apartment, second-hand laptop, and no distractions. For the first time, I was truly alone. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I worked during the day. Studied at night. Every dollar I earned went into learning, books, online courses, business strategies. I learned how to design, how to market, how to sell. And slowly, my spark turned into a fire. While they slept, I worked. While they laughed, I planned. And while they forgot me, I was building something they'd never forget. Months passed. Then years. And for the first time, I launched something. A small online business selling custom-designed minimalist accessories. At first, no one cared. I sold nothing. But I didn't stop. Because I remembered how it felt when they laughed. And I promised myself I would never give them that satisfaction again. Every night I whispered to myself, they laughed when I failed, but one day, they'll watch when I win. Sometimes, rock bottom isn't the end. It's the beginning of your greatest rise. They thought I disappeared. They thought I gave up. But I wasn't gone, I was growing. And when a seed grows underground, nobody sees the work. Until one day it cracks the surface and shocks everyone who thought it was dead. That's what I became. The seed they buried. The one that refused to rot. I started small. Tiny orders. A handful of customers. But with every sale I learned. With every rejection I improved. With every long night I sharpened my edge. People think success is loud. But it's not. It's the quiet grind no one claps for. It's waking up before dawn and going to bed when the world sleeps, whispering to yourself, just a little more. Just one more try. There were nights I couldn't afford food. Nights I slept on the floor because my rent was late again. But I didn't complain. Because pain became my teacher. And hunger became my motivation. Every time I wanted to quit, I remembered their laughter. My father's voice saying, "You'll never make it." Lena's text saying, "I need a man who can actually provide." And my best friend's smirk, the one he wore the day he stole her. I carved those memories into my mind like stone. And I promised myself, I'll make them watch. I'll make them regret ever doubting me. 3 years passed. 3 long years of blood, failure, and obsession. But then, it happened. A viral post. A small influencer featured my product. And overnight, everything changed. My inbox exploded. Orders flooded in. In 1 week, I made more money than I'd seen in my entire life. I didn't celebrate. I didn't tell anyone. Because I remembered, the last time I shared my dreams, people destroyed them. This time, I moved in silence. I reinvested every dollar. Built a real team. Expanded my product line. Designed a new logo. Clean, powerful, cold. And when I finally opened my new office, a glass tower in the middle of the city, I looked out the window and smiled for the first time in years. Because I knew. I was no longer the man they left behind. I was the storm coming for them. One morning, I received a message. A name I hadn't seen in years. Lena. She wrote, "Hey, I saw your company online. I'm proud of you. Maybe we can catch up." I stared at the message for a long time. I remembered how she walked away when I had nothing. How she laughed behind my back with my best friend. My fingers hovered over the reply box. And then, I smiled. I typed one sentence, "Sure. Come to my office tomorrow, let's talk." The next day, she walked in like nothing had happened. Same perfume. Same fake smile. But now, I was different. She wasn't meeting the man she left. She was meeting the man karma built. I watched her eyes wander around the office. The glass walls, the staff, the success. She said, "Wow, Ethan. I always knew you'd make it." I didn't smile. I just leaned back and said, "No, you didn't. That's why you left." Her smile cracked. She tried to recover. "I was young, Ethan. I made mistakes." I cut her off. "No, Lena. You made choices. And I made results." Silence. Cold, heavy silence. Then I leaned forward and said, "You know what's funny? You left because I had nothing. Now I have everything, and you have nothing." She looked down, eyes full of regret. But I wasn't done. I opened my drawer and slid an envelope toward her. Inside was a check, generous, more than she deserved. "Take it," I said. "Consider it payment for teaching me what pain really feels like. Because that pain made me who I am." She started crying. But I didn't feel pity. Not anymore. That part of me was gone. She whispered, "Do you still hate me?" I smiled coldly and said, "No. I don't hate you. I just don't care anymore." Then I stood up, walked to the window, and said softly, "Karma doesn't need my help. It already found you." That night, I sat alone in my office, staring out at the city lights. For the first time, I understood something. Success wasn't about money. It was about power. The power to make those who doubted you witness your rise. But deep down, I knew one thing was still missing. My best friend. The man who betrayed me the most. And I wasn't done with him yet. When karma writes your revenge, you don't have to lift a sword, you just have to watch. The news about Marcus spread for weeks. Articles. Investigations. Quiet whispers in meetings. Everywhere he went, doors stayed half closed. People who once shook his hand now nodded from a distance. He tried to rebuild. He called investors. He sent proposals. No one answered. Not because of me, but because of himself. The truth he had hidden finally spoke for him. And truth has a cruel, perfect memory. I was back in my office, the skyline burning gold in the sunset. I had everything I once begged for, a thriving company, respect, calm. But calm can be dangerous. It gives space for old ghosts to knock again. My assistant entered. "Marcus is here," she said softly. For a moment I said nothing. Then I replied, "Send him in." He walked in slowly this time. No smile. No swagger. Just a man carrying the weight of his own name. He sat down without being asked. "I came to say thank you," he said. "For what?" I asked. "For showing me what I did to you," he whispered. "I finally understand." I studied his face. He wasn't lying anymore. He didn't have the strength for it. The silence between us felt colder than any winter. Then he added, "I lost everything, Ethan. But I deserved it." I nodded once. Karma had already done the work. There was no satisfaction in twisting the knife when the wound was already mortal. Still, he asked the question I knew would come. "Can you help me start again?" I leaned back, fingers folded. "I could," I said. "But I won't. Not yet." He blinked, unsure if he'd heard correctly. "I'm not your savior," I continued. "I'm your mirror. What you see now is what you made." He looked down, eyes glassy. "You really won't forgive me?" "Forgiveness isn't a gift," I said quietly. "It's a privilege you earn. And you're still earning it." He nodded, stood up, and walked toward the door. Then I spoke the last line he'd ever hear from me. "Karma already forgave you by letting you live to learn. Don't waste that mercy." He froze, then left without another word. The door clicked shut, soft, final, complete. That night I stood on the rooftop. Wind cut across the city. Below me, lights shimmered like 1,000 second chances. I thought about everything, the laughter, the betrayal, the rise. It wasn't revenge that satisfied me. It was the power of choice. The ability to decide when the story ends. Because the truest form of victory isn't making them fall. It's being the one who decides not to push. I looked up at the sky and whispered, "They laughed when I failed, but karma made them watch me win." And for the first time, it didn't sound angry. It sounded like peace. Revenge fades, but control lasts forever. The real power is choosing when to walk away.